integration with third-party services now is mandatory to quickly launch to the market. And when we integrate some third-party solution, we of course first of all is expect a speed if compared to implemented by ourselves. And second, if we are talking about medical solution, is compliant, because we are not really need to worry about all the stuff. A lot of things rely on provider. But does everything so easy? I would say no. And there are 3 bottlenecks which I found especially during last year, because integration became more and more popular, and during last year we done more than 15 integration. And what I noticed is that only Stripe is really the perfect, I would say, API for integration. It have good documentation, it have good support, it have different cases for different scenarios in your application. So you definitely will find something that will work for you. If you are talking about other services, each second or each third have different issues on different levels. So let's go through these issues. First one is documentation. It's the first thing that actual developers start checking, and it's very often that on the first review everything is quite obvious. If it's REST API and like authorization, which quite common, you don't notice some small issues. But when developers start implementation, very often there are like something with response or something with test data, because like again on medical health you could not test on real data, so you will use test database with test users with test data, and very often test database not as accurate as a real one. Also the issue came with a mandatory or not mandatory field. Sometimes documentation not up to date. I assume it could happen because when the service is not like really popular, there are not enough resources. But what is disappointing me in this case is each time when we highlight some issue with documentation, nobody really fix it. So I would say only we knew that something is going wrong, or the other provider, like other company or provider who also work on the same integration. Second one is, of course, when you have any issue with documentation, you start write to the support. And usually you expect the support will answer during 1, maybe 2 days. I agree that they are overloaded, but sometimes the answers take like 2 weeks. I don't remember do we have cases with longer period, but anyway, it's critical. It's only 1 question. What if you will have 2 questions or 5 questions? So I recommend in this case, if it's possible, double check other solutions, and before you start, check how quickly the support answer. Because usually if they answer poor during like first phase or during upsell process, communication later will be worse, not better. And also the second one item which I want also notice, that sometimes you need to go to higher level, for C-level for example, or to the founder of the product to say that please, your support does not like support us, we need to push it to make it work. Next one, also related, it's sometimes there are some issue on API level, and it's really the worst case that could happen, and unfortunately I can say that it's rare. What I mean, it's when you start integration, there are some error appear, and it's because something was implemented wrong on their side. And because the team which implemented it have already some backlog, and in most cases your case is not priority, waiting for some fixes are very long. For example, a few weeks ago I read about the case of another company who make integration with Zoom, and the estimation was like a few days if I'm not wrong, but they find the issue with Zoom, and to convince the support there are issue on the API side, and then to take a team like it into the work and implement it finally took another month. So 2 months instead of 2 days. It's very expensive from time point and from, of course, from the budget point. So my general recommendation in this case, firstly, yes, integration is quicker, but it's not quick. So always put some days, or even I would recommend even weeks. So do not promise or do not expect that integration will be done less than 2 weeks. Just because better to do it quicker and be sure that it's done and everything fine, than promise it into the 2 days and then you will see that even if it's not because of you, still it's not implemented. And secondly, I already mentioned, but I would want double highlight that check support before you start working with some service. It's very, I would say that it's quick to check it during like first, second day of the integration if there are any problems. So if you on the beginning see that there are some issue and there are some alternative solution which you can use, try to use that. In most cases it will bring you more benefits than waiting for first one to get the answer.